Hello, and welcome to my Therapist Plays Disco Elysium analysis series. On today's episode, we're meeting who's become a contender for one of my favorite characters so far. We've done a lot of deep dives into Everard Clare, Joyce, Kim, Kuno, lots of the big ones, Fritter Girl, obviously the most important character. But in today's episode, we meet Klaasje, who has provoked some interesting discussion about self-esteem, self-worth, and kind of led me into some discussions on like how I would approach helping someone in her predicament who is kind of in the midst of a lot of things, political situations, things to do with the case, and also just her own, psychological complexes. So this is a jam-packed episode. I'm excited to share, so let's get into it. Okay, we're back. So one thing I wanted to do before we end the day was catch up with these boys.
I've got nothing to say to you.
Okay, got nothing to say to me? Let's see what he has to say.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Hey, I'm not a clown. Now I know what I look like now, and I am I'm not a clown. We're still not enough to establish our authority, but maybe we can through some conversation. Is there anything about the hanging we can talk about?
Again, just get the dead guy's autograph, since you're his biggest fan.
Good one, Titus.
Oh.
About fucking time.
Let's press on the Everard angle first. I want to put the pressure on him. Okay? I want him to feel like right now he doesn't respect me, and that's kind of justified. But if we can put the pressure on him, maybe he will. Me and Everett talked. He promised you'd cooperate.
Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy. Now she's making me play with you. Is that it?
That's right. I talked to Mommy Everard.
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Very mature, guys. Everett sent word.
Yeah, I heard him. The fuck do you think I'm doing here? You'd have your ass handed to you if it wasn't for the boss man's word. Let me state this very clearly, capo. Hello, officer. I'm Titus Hardy, and these are my boys. Hardy boys. How may we assist you?
Explosive laughter follows. To his men, Titus Hardy is a golden god. They want to laugh at his jokes even before they leave his lips. This guy is a born.
Yeah, but he's not going to be shit once I establish my authority. We're up to 42%. That is almost enough for me to just try it right now. I even have a skill point to retry it. Let's see if we can raise the stakes even more. If I establish my authority, the Hardy Boys will become the Brady Boys. Guess what? I've connected you to the local drug trade.
Like hell you have. There is no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are in Precinct 41 Kilos.
We'll do that. In the meantime, did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock?
Get him, Kim.
The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprints. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grace?
He's so calm and coordinated. I do. Let me deliver the coup de grace.
No, the thunder is his. Leave it to the lieutenant.
Do the honor. You've earned it. Me and Kim are now the fucking dream team. I'll just give him a nod. One of those.
Thank you. You're right, Titus. There is no local drug trade because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade.
A fucking bombshell. I fear that we have set Kim up as an antagonist to these individuals now, though, which may have repercussions.
That's a mighty interesting theory. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong, state-run monopoly would outcompete the runts on the street.
Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you would do. To get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies.
You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly. For the good of the community, of course.
This is disgusting. You're admitting to profiting off poisoning your own people. So he's basically saying, like, I run the drug trade theoretically so that there aren't just like random uncoordinated scoundrels doing it. Sort of the devil you know. People are always going to do drugs. At least this way you have some control over it. Yeah, right. Keep telling yourself that. I know for a fact there's still plenty of drugs out there. In fact, I have some of them in my bloodstream right now. Technically, that's not true, although we are pumped up with magnesium. Let's go with the disgusting angle. I want him to feel... we're putting the pressure on.
Boo fucking who. People will always be taking drugs. Might as well do it clean and organized.
That's not exactly the philosophy behind harm reduction, friend. Real harm reduction is the understanding that addiction is very much a gradient of severity in people's lives, and it's not only very difficult, sometimes impossible, but could be harmful, in fact, to just immediately stop doing drugs, especially if you've been on alcohol or opiates or amphetamines, lots of things, right? You'll go through extreme withdrawals. So you do medicated assisted treatment to help people taper off, provide their receptors with a safe alternative. Like if someone's taking opiates, you can provide them with a substance that will park itself in the opiate receptors so that even if you were taking a drug, the chances of getting high from it are very low. And the cravings are also reduced because your receptors are already parked with that substance, just not from a harmful chemical standpoint. Harm reduction is very much like if someone's not ready to do medicated assisted treatment and we know that they are going to be using, and perhaps they're either not ready or they're just at a different phase of things. It's like providing people with clean needles rather than sourcing them from more harmful, potentially harmful means. That's not really what the Hardy Boys are doing. They are profiteering off of the monopolized distribution of harmful chemicals and doing very much nothing at all to stop doing that. I know your whole fucking outfit. I work in it to stop this cycle from continuing.
Yeah, that's what the labor movement is all about.
Bullshit.
Clean and organized. And the Hardy Boys are running it.
I'm gonna make you my Brady Boys. Watch me.
Theoretically, of course. We're just talking politics.
Oh, just politics.
My answer to your drug accusation is, how dare you? Go fuck yourself.
Not quite yet, Mr. Hardy. There were 8 sets of prints on the crime scene. There are
Get
only
'em.
7 Hardy Boys here.
Yeah, where's the 8th Hardy? She runs the thing, right?
My answer is fuck off. Mind your own business. There is no 8th Hardy. I run this goddamn scene.
Who are you protecting?
Finally, you got something out of him. This could prove useful in the future.
Knew it.
And here we go. Back to the usual.
I know. Fatty walked on all fours. He's so fucking fat he left 2 sets of footprints.
Go fuck your mom, Dennis.
That's more like it, boys. You heard him. It was Angus on all fours. Anything else you need to know?
58%. This is gonna be the easiest dice roll. I shouldn't say fucking anything, in fact. My luck with these dice rolls is so chaotic. It's like, it's so unpredictable. This number means like literally nothing to me. I've passed like fucking 14% rolls and failed 96% rolls. I talked to Joyce. The merc you hanged and his friends are coming for you.
Yeah. By friends, you mean his squad mates from Crenell.
That's right.
Wouldn't want to beat up his grandma.
They're snickering in the room. Some of the men put their beers down.
Nervous, snickering. There's a rush of adrenaline present.
Yes. They're forming some kind of tribunal and they're coming for you. I like that Half-Light is not only my own sort of like fight or flight response, but it's detection of other people's. It's my animalistic instinct, which is very sensitive to that feeling, whether it's my own or someone else's. They're coming for you.
This is what happens if you take the law into your own hands.
That's right.
Other people start doing it too.
Yes, unqualified people. Put the law back in its rightful owner's hands, which is ours.
Let them come. The Hardy Boys are right fucking here.
You heard the man. Right here. We're armed. We got the whole district behind us. And Glenn. Glenn is fucking crazy.
I'm still going with my theory that Evrart could stop this conflict, but he kind of benefits if it happens and the Hardy Boys get fucked up so that he can kind of swoop in and be like, see, this is what happens when you don't let me run the show.
Yeah, a well-oiled murder machine.
The mood is on the rise. They're feeling confident, ready to punch out the whole merc platoon.
Let's hit him with the automatic weapons angle.
We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeelagers. Glenn's got a knock cannon at home.
Well, if Glenn has a knock cannon at home, I guess you'll be all right. I love that. I kind of want to say that, but I'm interested what he has to say to this. Will they pierce ceramic
I
armor?
guess we're gonna see, aren't we?
See what? That they don't?
Yeah, like you've been up against ceramic armor.
He takes a sip of beer to bide his time, then tries to get the last
You
word
haven't
in.
even seen the whole suit, right? I've seen the whole fucking thing, and it didn't make him immortal.
Okay, now I kind of want to go back and see if I can get that other dialogue.
We got weapons of our own.
That thing has 7 barrels, 1 trigger. You do the math.
Okay, 7 bear. I guess I'll shut the case down then. Yeah, Glenn's got it covered. Cronulla's bad news. You know that, right?
So are the local gangs. The fucking Barmy Army and the Madre scum. You've been out there. Seen any around?
Yeah. Where are they now, huh? Sent back to Madre in an airtight cargo crate.
These people are trained military professionals. Special forces, as you said. They're not a gang or a barmy army.
No, they're not. They're uncoordinated and drunk. We know more about them than you think.
Joyce said they've gone rogue. Nobody is controlling them.
Big fucking surprise. They hire psycho scum, arm them to the teeth, and let them loose in the city. What do you think is gonna happen?
Okay.
What do you mean, okay?
I mean, okay. They're gonna wipe you the fuck out, Titus. I mean, okay, you got this. You got the numbers. I mean, you've got that 7-barrel thing. I'll be on your side when they come. You got one more gun on your side. Once I find mine, Okay, I guess I'll be gunning you down right alongside them. No, we're not going to be doing that. They're going to wipe you the fuck out, Titus. Let's just be real.
No, they won't. Get out of here with your negative energy.
He really doesn't like you ruffling their feathers like that on what might be the eve of battle.
All he means is that the situation is serious.
No wonder you cops get shot to shit every day. Can't go to war with an attitude like that.
Look at the way I've riled him up. He's spitting beer. He's drooling with fear and anxiety. Let's fucking blast him. It's time to establish our authority. We've confronted him about the drug trade. We've got Avvart's permission to do it. We've discussed the Eighth Hardy. we were weak when we first met, but we've warned him about the tribunal. And we can retry. Let's fucking do it. Let's roll the dice, authority. Let's go!
As you look around this room full of sweaty men, swearing, drinking, spitting out tobacco, does this look familiar?
Where have I seen this before?
You believe the place was called Precinct 41. It was also filled with, almost exclusively, men, sitting on desks, talking shit and wasting time.
Probably reminds us of the environment that we were working in before.
You seen Apricot, old Purdue's daughter? Asks Lieutenant McCoy. Replies Torson. The ass on that one. McCoy shakes his head in appreciation. A bit strange the old man named her Apricot, but, I mean, who am I to judge? Wanna hit the kebab joint?
What I'm picking up from this is actually maybe a somewhat nascent opinion of Raphael. Look, I know him as Raphael, not as Harry. It's Raphael as Harry. An opinion about, like, he's probably seen a lot of environments where the people with the most authority have the weakest principles, self-included. And I think that that's something he feels like a great deal of shame about, or he's starting to, right? As we have become sort of the sorry cop, what I take away from that is, like, to say sorry is to reevaluate a decision that you made, right? And that's what we're doing. We're reevaluating our life. We're reevaluating who we were, what decisions we made, the kind of power that we wield. We're reevaluating our political opinions. Like, that's why my character and also Brady, the real person's role play of him, has been somewhat hesitant to commit to an ideology, because I think he knows the danger of having strong opinions. What you end up with is people like the Hardy Boys, people so strongly attached to their convictions that they are unable to see anything outside of it, right? And that's the hesitation that I, like, sort of pick up on why my character might be a little hesitant himself to commit to ideology, right? I will just clarify that that's not what I personally think. I have been choosing those options because it's just not the subject I'm most versed to talk about. At the same time, I find myself talking about it quite a lot. But yeah, that's what he sees. That's what I see in my character's eyes, is people with very strongly held convictions that the more you stick to that conviction and the more it has become a social necessity to double down on it. Like, imagine Glenn suddenly said, I'm going to put my 7-barrel one-trigger shotgun down because I don't believe in the cause anymore. What the fuck do you think would happen to him, right? So I wanted to look this up just to kind of refresh my mind on it. there's something called the risky shift phenomenon, which is basically the idea that people tend to have less conservative views than they would normally hold as individuals when they are in a group, right? And this has been observed in clinical studies and that sort of thing. So, for example, like whereas I might believe that like violence is extremely wrong, right? Becoming affiliated or associated with a group like this, you might find that like displays of violence affect me less because I see that it affects these individuals less, and it's their shared opinion that it's a necessary force or whatever, right? Risky shift phenomenon is kind of looked at as one of the explanations for radicalism in lots of political and social and national groups, right? It's like nationalism is essentially that. Our opinions, our behaviors, our ideas, they have a risky shift. They tend to be less conservative when they are put in the context of a broader group of people. To the degree where sometimes those opinions, like the new opinion that I might have that violence isn't actually that bad, persists with me even after I've left the group, right? That's how powerful this phenomenon can be. And so we see this all the time. It's like we often see it in movies when there's a gang of people and fucking the hero like beats up 10 of them and leaves the last one, and suddenly that last person doesn't have the strong conviction to fight anymore. Like it's a kind of an extreme example, but it demonstrates my point. Like in a group setting, our opinions tend to shift away from the more individualized conservative ones. And this can happen in almost any context, right? In a workplace environment, in a peer relationship, right? You're probably more willing to hear out your friends' opinions that you disagree with and hold less strongly to your own, so that like the two of you can find some common understanding. Like we afford each other more willingness to compromise our views when we feel the association with the group is stronger than our opinion is to ourselves. And that's kind of maybe what I imagine like Harry to be experiencing now that he's no longer a part of the kinds of collectives that he's remembering. Like he's not, in this situation. He's got his memories erased and he's developing kind of a new personality out of that. And so maybe some of his opinions are shifting back towards the more individualized conservative ones. It's a really interesting phenomenon. I would recommend reading up more on it if you're interested, because it can explain quite a lot about how radicalization can occur and the prevalence of nationalism. Okay, I guess I do have look. There is a weave of connective tissue between psychology and politics that I have acknowledged time and again. I know that I am aware of it, and yes, I have opinions about it. I guess I just can't. So yeah, I'm not opposed to talking about politics at all. To me, the psychological component is just what comes first in my interest category, right? Especially when it's subjects like this, like in intergroup psychological dynamics. Okay, I get it, Titus. You guys really are the authority around here.
Oh.
You must be. You're just like real cops, drinking beer and sitting around with your dicks in your hand. Yes, I knew it. I knew he was thinking of his past associates and reflecting quite negatively on them.
You got a problem with beer now?
Certainly not.
Not quite there yet. Push on.
No, I'm drunk on the job too. I don't give a shit, just like you guys. No, I'm a big fan of beer and jerking off instead of... I have a beer problem, but not a problem with beer. I also have no idea how to do my job. Like you. Yeah, I think that's... What's more honest here? Yeah, I feel like this is the one.
Speak for yourself, buddy. I've been running this outfit for 10 years now. You should have seen Martinez before it started. It was like jam rock now.
They didn't see shit, man. Kids getting shot. We had 3 shootings a week. Fucking graffito everywhere. You cops haven't shown up since the 30s.
Congratulations on the graffito removal. All I see is you sitting around talking about Monica's titties while there's a rape victim.
Damn! Get him, Kim!
So what? What do you want from me? We took care of that fuck.
Don't let him drink that. One more push. Quick.
Yes!
Just don't antagonize him. You have this already.
It's not about who did it, it's about the victim. She needs help.
Titus?
She stops mid-sentence. That's it. You got it.
Boom.
He's going to give it up, but on his terms.
You want to help her, cop? Fine. I'm gonna let you help her, but you treat her with respect. If you don't, if you question her, harass her, a freight train of pain, buddy.
What is her name?
Klaasje, I'm on due. She's staying here, the whirling in rags, a real pretty one. Silvery jumpsuit, blonde. That's I'm on due with an O.
Shit. The girl upstairs? That can't be her. She knows you drank so hard you forgot you were a cop.
Gee, I'm sure glad we didn't harass her at the beginning of the game. Like so many people were encouraging me to do. That would have looked really bad now.
Oh, it's her! It's definitely her! It's Miss Oranje, disco dancer!
I don't think we're gonna pass that. Let's just adjust our tie, maybe.
Yeah. Blonde.
Shit.
Tall. 2 rooms over from yours.
Miss Orange disco dancer? I don't know what that means.
Sure. Why not? You've probably seen her around.
Oh shit. Fuck, I made it worse. Okay, fuck it.
You inexplicably add who after the victim's name, with your eyes bulging like some wild beast.
That was
your
such a
fingers
fuck
are
up.
fidgeting and sweat starts forming on your brow as Titus looks at you.
We can't help but embarrass ourselves.
I don't understand what's so cool here.
It's not cool.
Nothing. We just have a few more questions. Then we'll be on our way.
Damn it.
Whatever you do not tell him you know her. That would sound off.
I love how you could just say that anyways. So what was her relationship with the mercenary?
Relationship? There was no fucking relationship. That's their relationship.
Something is off here. His anger is possessive.
Was like that karaoke incident all over again. Or like some of the other girls he was harassing.
Okay, enough. All of this is irrelevant to your stated investigation.
So when did it happen?
He did it before we killed him. He's not gonna do it again. So what does it matter?
It would help if we establish a timeline.
There we go. Back to police work.
All right. 2 weeks, maybe? I don't know. I need another beer.
Here you go, boss.
What is your relationship with her?
I know her.
How well Do you know her?
God, good. Good, Kim. Get him.
Well enough, Copper. We partied. She's been here for a few months.
He tries to make it sound real casual, but the muscles on his neck tighten.
So she's not from around here.
You mean Revachol? Nah. Our Miss Aranye disco dancer is an immigrant or a drifter of some sort. Been staying over here over the winter.
Don't you give her any more trouble. She's just had some bad luck, that's all.
Shut up, Angie. She doesn't need your help.
Titus gives them both a look. What's with all the silences? It's like these guys don't know how to feel about this. You should keep picking at it.
Okay, we're back on top of this investigation.
And what was up with the partying she and Titus did? It sounded fun.
You said you partied. Cool, that's cool. But what did you mean?
What do you think I meant?
Did you do karaoke?
Yeah, tons of it. All the songs.
So you're saying the two of you were close?
No, we just fucked. That's all. I'm not gonna give you any details if that's what you're after. So put your dick away.
He really went out of his way to seem comfortable with this topic. That's all you're gonna get for now.
All right, let's move on. We'll talk to her.
Remember what I said. Freight train of pain.
Okay. That was an uncomfortable exchange. This is telling me I can debrief with Kim or something?
Officer, what was that?
What was what?
You looked strange when he mentioned the assault victim's name. Do you know that woman?
I mean, technically we don't. I don't know her. It's like the first character we interacted with. We just passed her in the hall, right? But I'm gonna say no.
Officer, before we interview this woman, is there something I should know?
He's not leaving you a lot of room to back off from this.
I met her in the hallway after I woke up. Yeah, I think that's all
Understood.
we know.
You were not in good shape on Monday.
She knows I didn't remember being a cop.
Okay, that's manageable.
And we didn't do that.
What you're saying is, you?
Ice is forming on the inside of your chest cavity. Cold sweat trickles down your neck.
No.
Then, don't ever say that again. What else?
This is a weird exchange as well, Kim.
This is unprofessional. Not sharing information with me is unprofessional.
What? I shared everything I know. We just met her in the fucking hallway.
His opinion of you has lowered considerably.
How? Why? That's just bullshit. That my honest response is no, I don't know her. As far as I know, we just met her in the hallway. Whatever. I'm sure it's not that bad. I mean, maybe it's really bad. Whatever. We're not going back on it now. Let's.
The door is closed.
I can't tell if this is a moment of like just me being confused because it was several months ago now that we first started playing the game, or if I just played that wrongly. I don't know. That was not the intended course, though.
Who is it?
This is the police. Can we come in?
Come on up. The door is open. I'm drying my hair.
Okay, let's go in. The room has sad all. It reminds us of our own. What that does tell me, though, is that, like, Kim trusts us enough that sensing any kind of unprofessional candor is, like, deeply offensive to him now. More so now than when we first met, and he kind of just expected that from us. Now that we're, like, a little more buddy-buddy, he's, like, really offended. It's like, you know, if you lie to a good friend, like, it hurts a lot more than if you lie to a stranger. That's the smile. Silver lining there. I need some more morale. What am I using to increase my morale? Is that my magnesium? I use magnesium to quell the sad emotions of disappointing Kim. I didn't mean it. Okay, let's go.
This medicine cabinet is full of wares. Sheets of pills, haphazardly stacked one on top of the other. There's also a toothbrush somewhere in there.
Let's check out that toothbrush.
It's been used quite a lot. This toothbrush belongs to someone who doesn't give a damn about her teeth.
Let's check out those medications.
Pharmaceuticals line the shelves. Sheet upon sheet of pill bottle next to pill bottle. Acetylic acid, APAP, eye drops, blood thinners.
That's quite the collection
Anything
in there.
of note?
Let's check out those bottles.
Pill bottles rattle like bones as you search the cabinet. Paracetamol, histoperidol, something in a foreign language you can't read. Behind them, an unusually shaped nasal spray. Its label reads, Nacra.
Paracetamol. I remember that. It's like a Tylenol equivalent for Europeans. What's Nacra?
An opioid receptor antagonist. It's used for diamorphine overdoses.
Okay. That's exactly what I was talking about. An opioid receptor antagonist. Like, Narcan is probably our real world equivalent. Like, if someone is overdosing on opioids, the receptors are plugged with that opioid, and, like, using Narcan will rip them out, basically. And the person overdosing will be quite unhappy because it's quite intense. Quite an intense feeling from what I gather. Let's check out those pill sheets.
Among some foreign, probably Messinian or Gotwaldian, marked red blister packs you find. What do you find? This is going to take a little know-how.
Anything more interesting?
Nothing of note. The further you look, the more arcane it gets. You don't know what the rest of this stuff does.
God damn it. We lost a 72%er. Alright, let's investigate. Oh, what was that? Cigarette smoke. What do we got here? Cold coffee in an ashtray that looks like a hedgehog. Okay.
Welcome to the roof.
The young woman has a cigarette in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other.
Below her silvery jumpsuit, an athletic young body, built long and lean.
I'm sorry for the mess down there. The cleaning lady hasn't come by in days. I'm beginning to wonder if she ever will.
Nice view you've got here.
It's much nicer now. Thank you for that, officers. Truly.
What? What did we do?
There is something in her light brown eyes. A sadness.
Oh, okay.
When she thinks about the death of that man.
We took down the body. That's why. You mentioned a cleaning lady. I think I need one.
Oh, yes. Legends of room number 1 have made their way around the building. They say a portal to hell has opened in there.
Disco Infernum. There are vortices of dark energy present, but not to hell, to another place. A third place, much different from our world. Let's keep it casual. Disco Infernum.
They also say that's why the cleaning lady quit. Because of the infernum.
Shit.
I am Kim Kitsuragi. I am a detective from Precinct 57.
Kim,
I
get
see
involved.
You've already met my colleague.
This does not come as good news to him.
There was fucking nothing I could do about that. I wasn't lying. I don't know anything about her. I barely even remembered who she was.
Have I ever? Have you grown accustomed to your role as a police officer?
Oh yeah. Feel the power.
Once a cop, always a cop. Damn straight.
Like riding a copacycle.
A copacycle. That's great.
Miss, we are investigating the murder of the man down there. The people who put him there have asked us to talk to you.
Huh. I see.
She takes a pensive drag of her menthol cigarette.
Be careful. Ask something else first. When you go there, use words like, I hear you have been through something difficult.
So we should start simply. What's your name, miss?
Klaasje Amondou.
Where are you from?
Vredefort, Republic of Oranje.
What is Oranje?
A bad memory, officer.
Of what?
Of lilacs and lightning. Parks, glass, duraluminium. Vredefort is a conference city. It's always autumn there. And night. At least it was for me.
What's so bad about that?
Nothing. If you're no longer there.
The conference centers are filled with people who get angry at you if you do something wrong.
Let that be for now.
It's the past. People can't go back to the past.
It's very true. How old are you? Let's not ask that. That's probably a little bit unnecessary. What do you do, miss? What's your specialization?
Something stupid.
Want to hear what's stupid? Somewhere in a one-room apartment on Boogie Street, a young man shows Patrol Officer Tilbrook his genital warts. Ask him if they're cancer.
That's pretty stupid.
His partner, Emil Mullins, can't be there. He's in another apartment with another man who's showing him a dead dog under the radiator. It's dead, Mullins says. No, the man replies. I touched him. He's warm. He's warm, Mullins replies, because he's under the radiator.
Incompetent cops? What's that?
Oranese lit.
Oranese lit.
Oranese literature. It's what I studied at the university.
What is it about?
Fear of failure, fear of death, how it sucks to be Oranese. All national literatures are... Only the name of the nation changes.
Sounds like a bit of terror management theory going on.
If that's true, then Revacholian lit would fit you like a glove.
What do you do with Oranese lit?
Nothing. I do nothing with it.
How do you make money then? Money's very important. We'll show her some to make sure she knows what we're talking about.
Cool. I've made more money by just being than I have with Oranese lit.
Being what?
Many things. A roller skating instructor, a secretary, Miss Oranje 37.
It's the world's most tired smile. Miss Oranje, now there is something you should linger on.
Wouldn't it be inappropriate to linger? What is Miss Oranje? I don't think it's not untoward to just ask.
It's a beauty pageant held in the year of our century 37 in Oranje.
What is a beauty pageant?
It's a competition for stupid girls. Men look at them and choose the most beautiful.
Oh, we're getting deep now. What is beauty?
When you have the fewest deviations from the norm. I've been told it's a type of mediocrity that I possess.
What a great definition. When you have the fewest deviations from the norm. A type of mediocrity that I possess. Like, man, there's so much in that. Like, that beauty is counter to uniqueness in some ways. And what we all aspire for and are attracted to is beauty, but in a sort of generic way. Fucking that Ardenese literature has made her some sort of deep philosophical thinker. So you were the most beautiful.
Yes. And for that, I got a crown and a sash and a scepter and a scholarship to study Oranese lit.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. I would offer you coffee, but it's garbage. Literally tastes like poison.
What is interesting about her so far to me is there's definitely like a low self-esteem, right? And what I mean by that is the thing that comes across most clear is downplaying your own accomplishments, right? What I do is stupid. The degree I have is useless. It wasn't a big deal to fight for it. Anything I have to offer, even as simple as a coffee, is not useful to you. Working on low self-esteem like that is really difficult because like our instinct as people is to empathize and to say like, oh, but that thing you did is actually a big accomplishment. Like I couldn't do that. But the trick is that like it's not, people with that like lowered self-esteem are not looking for your validation or my validation, especially not as like the therapist in this sense. What they're missing is their own validation. And so you kind of, in my role, like you kind of have to resist that urge to tell someone, actually, I'm very impressed by what you do. And you're an accomplished person, you're beautiful, you're whatever. Like you start wanting to list people's qualities that you admire. But that's not what they're seeking. What they're really missing as part of self-esteem is like an internal positive regard, not something that they're borrowing from what you see about them, right? She has to have the invention of the idea that her accomplishments mean something in her own mind. And the way you go about that is helping people learn to reevaluate their decisions and the outcomes of those decisions. So you're kind of going at it at a roundabout way. You're kind of going with like a Socratic method, right? So you might be asking someone like, again, playing a little bit ignorant, like, what does it take to win in a beauty contest? And she might say, well, you know, you just have to stand there. It's not really that deep, right? What did it feel like to be considered the winner of that? She might downplay that as well and say it didn't mean anything to me. That's your doorway in to say, well, has there been a time where you felt like you really did deserve something, where you really did win at something? And you'll get one of two responses. One is, no, I've never felt that, right? And what you've done is you've had them start to consider what the standards might be for feeling accomplishment, right? What would it take for you to feel that now, right? We've kind of found our back door into exploring the subject without, because like if I just said, no, that's a real accomplishment, you did a good job, I'm offering interpretation of her life. Not useful, not necessarily, not my responsibility to a person, right? I'm helping them to reinterpret their own life. What would a real accomplishment feel like? And now she might start clarifying things like, well, I want to feel like what I do has some sort of purpose. I want to feel like I mean something to people, like I'm worth more than just my looks, right? You can just keep asking questions. So what would that look like for you? What are some of the things you're doing right now to try to get that? And she might say nothing. Is this something that you're interested in, feeling this kind of accomplishment? And if she says no, that's okay, right? We've at least explored that subject and put it in her mind that at least she does know. She knows more about what accomplishment means to her than just looking at the things she feels unaccomplished about. That kind of questioning is sort of where I go to when I sense that someone does have a lot of ambition and potential, which is every client that I've worked with, right? Every client that I've ever worked with, I have seen something about them that feels like they have something to offer the world that they haven't seen themselves yet. And it would be wrong of me to, point that out to them and say, here's your potential. I can clearly see this, right? The goal is for them to see it. And my interpretation could very well be wrong, right? So it's important that they come to that conclusion because it is their work, and we take the position that the person, the client, is the expert, not the clinician. The clinician is an expert in a method of questioning and processing that helps someone explore a subject. When you get comfortable enough with someone and you've been down this road with them, like imagine I'm now at like session number 30 or something with Klaasje. And I've seen her start to work on this, and we're starting to say, okay, well, next week, by next session, I want you to accomplish something based on the standards that you laid out to me, being inspiring to someone, feeling like you have some capability beyond your beauty or whatever it is, right? Whatever you found that she defines. I want you to do one step towards that before our next session. Okay. Comes to the next session. Well, I couldn't do it. I didn't find anything that made me feel like that. Okay, well, what are some of the things that you tried? Well, I tried, I don't know, like singing a karaoke song, right? I'm just coming up with stuff here. Just imagining how the therapy session would go. Where the therapist's interpretation might come in is like once we've built some of that rapport and I feel that she is on the same track as me and she trusts that me interpreting something is not a replacement for her own interpretation, but is just able to give a better voice to what she's already feeling, right? My interpretation might be like, well, maybe doing the karaoke didn't feel as much like an accomplishment because of XYZ, right? Does that resonate with you? I'd always throw it back on, like, if I'm going to make an interpretation, I always throw it back on, is that right? Or what do you think about that, right? Because it's not my lens that matters here. I'm detecting that there's processing going on, but I want to always throw it back on the person themselves. So that's one of the responses you might get and how you might work on that, right? If someone says, no, I don't feel like I have any accomplishments. If they say yes, the one accomplishment I felt when I was a kid and I did this thing or whatever, that gives us a very different route, They could say, well, I danced for some of my friends and I felt like it made us understand each other better or brought us closer together, whatever, right? What did it feel like to be connected to people? Well, it made me feel special, for example. When was the last time you felt like that? Well, it has been a long time. What are some of the things that we could be doing right now to try to capture that feeling? What's missing, right? We're trying to explore this. We're trying to process this. In a way, it is a little bit like an investigation, but the thing that we're trying to search for is evidence of insight. Whether the evidence is, yes, my when I was a child, it was this thing that made me feel accomplished. Okay, that's the insight that we need to grapple onto, and with that insight, we can start trying, experimenting with behaviors that may provoke that feeling again, right? Or the evidence is not there. I've never felt like this, and so we need to try to understand what could provoke that feeling. So that's kind of like the process that I would go down with Klaasje, just based on this first interaction with her. If I'm thinking about the main project I'm doing with her being on self-esteem, right? Because that's just kind of what I pick up from what she's saying here. Okay, let's move on. These other things aren't important right now.
The record. So official.
I think that she seems to have some admiration for us as cops, especially me, because she knows I didn't even know I was a cop. Because it probably is like, it represents to her someone who feels comfortable in their role, like they really figured out what they were supposed to do in life. And maybe she doesn't feel like that because she's tried all these things but doesn't feel complete. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe we can go with this question now. They tell us you've been through something difficult. Let's just talk about the room first. Nice room.
Yeah, it's pretty deluxe.
No one likes to talk about their dirty laundry and their empty bottles. Maybe if you phrase it emotionally.
Maybe if we... hate to say it, but you've got sad all over the place. That's kind of emotional. That's not really what I would say, but if suggestion is suggesting it. The other question I have is, what mask is Klaasje wearing right now? Because we all wear masks, right? Mask wearing is just a metaphorical way to discuss the differences in behavior that we exhibit depending on the context and who we're communicating with, right? For example, I'm going to wear a very different mask when I am talking to my parents versus talking to good friends. I wear a very different mask when I'm talking to someone at the grocery store at the checkout line versus when I'm at work. I wear a very different mask when I'm on stream than at work. There has been some confusion in the course of these recordings where people are like, wow, I can't believe you act like this as a therapist. I'm not at work. This is like Brady's goofing off in his personal lifetime. Like, I've taken my very serious, always composed, professional mask off. And very occasionally I put it back on to do an analysis, but most of the time, like, I'm being a goofball here. I feel like some people, yeah, maybe I should just make it more more clear. Right? Like, I should just do something like that. I don't know. No one in the world who's not a client of mine will ever know what I'm truly like as a therapist, because that's something that only someone in the strict confines of professional confidentiality you would see me in, right? Like, I use a very different language. My emotional sensitivity is like very precisely calibrated to empathize with someone, and at the same time, keep a professional boundary up. My tone of voice is very different. Like, I'm very soft-spoken in my practice as a therapist when I need to be. And I also, can be a little more electric in a therapy session when I need to be, right? Like, there's a very specific calibration that I'm always considering when I'm at work, just depending on who I'm talking to, right? When I work with, teenagers or troubled youths and that sort of thing. Very different way of speaking. Something that helps build rapport with them is like letting loose a little bit, just like swearing a little more, finding something that they can relate to, like, bringing up that I used to skateboard or something. Like, I'm trying to work through some of that hesitation to talk with me. When it's appropriate, though, I will reduce that edge and just like be much more open and emotionally inviting. So yeah, very specific calibration of my tone of voice, how I look, how I'm presenting myself. And that calibration is not really considered here. I'm just like, I'm just having fun for the most part here. But I say all that to put it in the context of this, right? Like, what is the mask that Klaasje is wearing? Is she wearing the Miss Oranje disco dancer mask, like the professional mask? Is she wearing one that is purposefully kind of emotionally vulnerable? Like, is she aware in some ways that she's like implying implicitly that she's quite sad, but she's, being sarcastic? Like, yeah, it's a very deluxe room. Right. I'm always trying to understand that too, because there is a moment when I'm talking with someone in therapy where their dynamic with me changes, and I find that when they start to trust the process and trust me, it's like I can physically see them take the mask off and just be a lot more themselves. And that's a very powerful moment. And sometimes it takes that confrontational approach that I talked about in previous episodes, where it's just a very fine line that you have to find with people, and you get a sense of it when you work in a field like this for a good long time, of like what's the level of intensity to confront people with things like this. You've got sad all over the place. Now that I've thought about it a little more, and I'm thinking about mask wearing, I think she actually will resonate with this, because in some ways she's hoping that we can see through the sarcasm, because what I have 100% of the time, and I truly mean 100%, people at their core want to heal, and they want to find a space they can be vulnerable to heal in. Sometimes it takes a very long time to facilitate that place for them. And there's definitely been, times where it's really, really hard to fight for. But 100% of the time, I have found that people want to be seen, when they feel like it's safe to be seen for what they feel. Maybe that's something we can connect to Klaasje with here. You've got sad all over the place.
Yeah, I've contaminated it pretty bad.
Yes, be honest with us. It's good for your hearts. Is that why you're out here?
The contamination spreads from room to room. First, I escaped upstairs. The sad got that too. Then I found the handle for the summer door.
I love that she's externalizing and personifying the sad. That's like literally a technique that I use all the time. It's externalizing the problem, right? It's the difference between saying I am depressed versus depression is present with me today, right? One is association with identity. One is it is a force that is in your life that impacts it very much, but it's present sometimes and less present other times. you do this with kids a lot as well. Like, you know, what does the sad, what does it feel like when the sad is in the room with you? Like, because it allows them to safely talk about this emotion without having to like sit with it, you know, and that's important when you're trying to build that trust and safe environment. I would 1000% do this, like go with her metaphor. I have done this so many times. When a client presents you a metaphor for their life, like my depression is like a contamination, I will almost always go with that metaphor and build from it because it's their language, right? When I talked about like buying into things with Kuno, buying into their way of thinking about it, instead of me saying like, that contamination, to me that sounds like a maladaptive schema of behavior. Like, I don't want to translate your interpretation of your life into my psychodynamic interpretation. Like, that's just irrelevant. So I would love this response. This is almost exactly what I would say therapeutically. Tell me about this contamination.
For me, it's a mix of me with a lack of cleaning services. How about you? Talk around the establishment is, you have an industrial sad spill in there.
A sad spill, yeah.
Somewhere below, military-grade sad is dripping off the walls. You should say the first thing. It's honest. It will lead to introspection.
Yes. Yes, it will. This game literally is in my brain. Like, it has like precognitive reactions as I say things. It immediately jumps out to like demonstrate them. It's so weird. This has happened so many times now. Something is bad in my head in the past.
That's where it always comes from, isn't it? From the head and from the past.
It's a feeling, white and filled with doom, gaseous, invisible, deadly. It's everywhere.
Sounds like an advanced form of what I've got, with a bit of old love sprinkled on top.
This is like my favorite character now. Like, talking to her is so healing for like to encounter someone that is deeply affected by this world and actually also integral to its broader narrative plot, who is willing to engage with what she feels without the facade. Everyone here feels like they're wearing 6 layers of masks. Everard has a major facade about power and authority and what his responsibilities are and how he can help you and all of these things. Kuno's facade is a defense mechanistic way of just coping with the world by, you know, being loud and feeling invincible, right? Even Kim has the facade of just professionalism always above emotion, like he's, you know, Spock or something. Everyone has a facade here, and she's kind of the first character that really feels like they're not safe. They're not more safe behind the facade than they are in front of it, in a sense. Probably, yeah.
Love is terror.
She breathes in a large billow of menthol-infused smoke, savors it, then lets it out slowly.
Sheer terror, panic, and screaming.
What are you doing here in the Whirling in Rags?
I'm wintering.
How long have you been staying here?
About 4 months. I came in November.
Why here?
Here in the Whirling, here in Martinez, or here in Revachol?
Here in Martinez.
I heard this is where the washed-up disco has-beens go.
This is Sassy Town. It's where the future of dance lies. You're too young to call yourself a disco has-been. I have to remember that I'm not a therapist in the game. I'm a cop. I'm a sorry, boring cop who shouldn't feel as uncomfortable with offering interpretations. I just, it's hard to turn off the therapy brain. Let's just say this because it sounds nice.
I'm really not.
You have quite the collection of prescription drugs down there.
Thank you. I've put a lot of time and effort into it.
I love that. Again, no facade.
Technically, possession of narcotics is legal in Revachol, but you should still reprimand her. No, don't listen to the stiff. Be cool.
Suggestion and authority have such an interesting relationship. How did you amass such a hoard? Again, look, it is comparable to detective work. Like, part of being a therapist is information gathering, right? And the purpose of that information is to help someone. That's not always the prerogative of a law official. But similar method, right? Relatability, using people's own metaphors, going with what they're already saying, like, let's just roll with it. Yeah, it's an impressive, and it's also something our guy would say, totally.
With money, sir. It's not exactly the NT-star size caboodle I intend for it to be one day, but it's getting there.
The collection includes Nacra, an opioid antagonist, which means to me, again, if I'm like interpreting this right, it's like Narcan or naloxone. Harm reduction, like I talked about before, would be, if you're going to be taking opiates, you should have Narcan with you in case you overdose, and then someone can use that Narcan to resuscitate you. Which makes it curious that she has it. Because she's at least considering the possibility of, taking too much.
Comes in handy when you've done too many opioids.
Is that something that happens to you often, miss?
His tone isn't aggressive, it's just inquisitive.
Better safe than sorry.
That's a good point. I like this character a lot. She's a lost soul with just pieces missing that no one can fill but herself. And that's the painful work of helping people, is sometimes you're like, you cannot do it for them. You can just believe in them. You can facilitate their growth. You cannot do it for them. And that's hard sometimes. That's all as far as that goes, then.
Very funky.
I have other questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. Now is the time. They tell us you've been through something difficult.
Something difficult? I've been through at least half a dozen difficult things. Which one do you mean?
Were you miss?
By...
Yes.
It's a bit early in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost 10 p.m.
She sounds positively buoyant, vivacious, totally unbothered.
So actually, yeah, it's evening. That would be a little condescending. What does that mean? Were you... I don't understand what this is suggesting we'll say. Let's just go with it.
I'm gonna go with... I can't say that stuff about him. Tell them it's not my style. They'll have to, if they want to jazz up the charges, they'll have to get someone more,
I may have to censor some of this for YouTube. Just the audio. I don't know if YouTube likes this, this terminology.
Are you saying that you were asked to tell us you were assaulted?
Not explicitly, but I understood what they meant. It wouldn't hurt to spice things up a bit. Some assault and battery. It was clear the latter would be spicier.
What did they hang him for if not that? What did happen between you and the
We
victim?
partied.
What do you mean
We
partied?
drank, sir. A lot. For weeks, basically. We had that effect on each other. We made each other drink harder. That's why I liked him.
What else?
Stimulants. Speed also has that effect, making you drink harder. And then drinking harder makes you do more speed. It's quite the combination. We also had sex.
Were feelings involved?
A little. The drugs were good enough, and we did enough of them.
How did you two meet?
Downstairs, at the bar. He was on some sort of assignment. A military man, as you probably know. Had a cool, scary scar.
She appears aloof, but that scar part, the scary, is stressed and drawn out. What's that about? Apprehension? With longing. She misses him.
When was this?
A month ago? Something like that.
This is getting complicated. I wonder what the truth is in all of this. Titus asked you to spice things up for us?
Pretty much.
Warming them. She must be very cold and exhausted of this life.
Are you sure that didn't happen?
I'm 89% sure.
So you're not entirely sure?
You know how it is.
Do you?
Do I?
Maybe you don't. In conclusion, officer, I'm gonna go with a mild to medium here.
The cop in me wants to say we need a declarative statement. This is a serious matter. I need a serious statement.
Serious.
You hear cracking in her shoulders.
Let me make this 100% clear then, officer. I was not. Would I be this flippant if I had been?
Why did they hang him then?
He had something to do with the strike. One has been roiling since I got here. Rotten timing. But you probably know all about it.
And his role in this strike was...
I think he was in a security detail. He was ex-military, worked for Wild Pines, and against the Union. We didn't discuss work much, if you know what I mean. But I understood it was dangerous.
And they lynched him for it?
She nods.
It was all fucking political? I hope you guys know that now I'm just like teasing you a little bit. What? This was about politics all along? I recant everything I said. What can you tell me about him?
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Not right now. Later, maybe. I keep seeing him. Like he is now. I can't talk about his... I don't know. Hair.
I know it's difficult, miss. We can return to it later.
We'll return to it later. Tell me about the Hardy Boys.
They're frequent guests downstairs. They have a booth for union members. They're probably down there now.
How did you meet?
Over drinks. It's been a long, boring winter.
Did you party?
A little, yeah.
Like you partied with the deceased?
No, not as hard.
I'm sorry to have to ask this, but have you had a physical relationship with any of the Hardy Boys?
I have.
Which one?
Which ones, sir? I don't remember precisely. Titus, obviously. But as I said, it's been a long winter.
Could that have been part of the reason they hanged him?
I don't think she needs to be privy to that suggestion.
Don't be tactful. She doesn't care.
Oh. I guess she doesn't care. There's no facade with her. It must be hard for you seeing him there. I love how the game just, like, I had that thought that was like, be tactful. That's probably not what she needs to hear. Like, my thinking was, well, this is someone she evidently cared about, and she doesn't want to get involved, I don't think, in like the bullshit drama. That's why she's just so open about it. So I didn't want to, you know, ask for her interpretation. But then the game's like, you didn't need to think about all that. She doesn't care. Like, just immediately, it's like literally in my brain. It's fucking weird. Must have been hard for you.
Oh, yes. I've had a great view. From the roof, out of the bathroom window, in my dreams.
A bitter cringe. It hurts. You look to the lieutenant. He takes a small step closer.
You called us, the RCM.
Yes.
The call reporting the hanging.
I made it. And I would appreciate it if you didn't tell everyone. In Martinez, they call it snitching.
Reporting crimes is confidential in Revachol, miss.
If it's snitching, then why do it?
Because I couldn't handle it anymore. None of these people called. He just kept hanging there. Then they started stripping him.
Tearing off his armor. Demeaning him. Throwing rocks at him.
The caller's voice was disguised.
I didn't exactly disguise it. I just muffled the mic and nicked the landline a little.
Nicked it?
With nail clippers. And I diverted some radio fuzz into it. Into the cold wire.
Which landline?
The one downstairs, officer. I used the whirling landline.
Why go through all the trouble?
I don't know, sir. It was stupid. I was drunk, too. I was probably afraid the union was listening in. Locals say they have ears in the wires.
Thank you for making the call, miss. It was the right thing to do.
I didn't want to, sir. But if I hadn't, he'd still be hanging there.
Okay. Thank you for telling all of this, miss.
She breathes a silvery sigh of relief and weariness. The air on the roof feels humid.
Should we head by downstairs, officer? We may have things to discuss there.
I had something else. Before we go, a little thing.
She nods. Silvery cigarette fumes disappear into her mouth.
We got a volition check here. Maybe we explore the personal angle?
Yes. You're just one room away. Very personal.
Were you in Sunday night? I need to know what I did before I lost my memory.
You do not need to know that. What you need is to ask normal police questions. Like...
Get a grip, he thinks. At least do your personal stuff when I'm not here.
I don't like being scolded by Kim. And I don't appreciate his misinterpretation earlier of my honesty. Look, I see some of the friction between Kim and I, now that we have become a little more close, is professionally. I feel like he just... Professionalism and the duty of the law, it just overrides everything else for him. And it seems like it's very hard for him to see corners of the world where, like, a bit more humanity needs to lead the charge. Like, for example, like, you know, me understanding what's happened to me, and this person is maybe one of the only people who could tell me, and is someone who our character can relate a lot to, just feeling like kind of broken inside. But he won't have it. He won't have any of it. I respect Kim a lot, and I appreciate everything he's done for us, but at the same time, like, he can't be everything to me for my healing journey. We'll have to come back when he's not here. We'll try this when he's not here as well. I don't think Kim needs... Let's not get Kim involved this time. For once.
Why not? I'll be here until 11 p.m. drinking coffee, most likely.
I swear to God, if he's gonna scold me again, I'm gonna lose it.
Looks like we have more to discuss with those so-called Hardy boys. Half their reasoning just went out the window.
You think this will make them cooperate?
Nothing will make them respect the RCM, but it will disrupt the game they prepared for us. We just stripped off one layer of whatever it is. Her decision to not corroborate their story was definitely not part of the plan.
Why did she tell us all of that?
What else could she have done? Lie? She saw there was no way to lie and get away with it.
I'm not sure she had to lie. I wouldn't have known.
If not you, then me. It was a smart move from her.
She seems candid.
You think so? Being candid is the best way to lie. The appearance of candor with some facts thrown in draws attention away from whatever one chooses to omit.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I'm confused, Kim. I'm so confused. I have all these emotions. I'm desperate for people to understand me and to understand myself, and I'm naturally gravitated towards characters like Klaasje and Kuno and Fritta Girl and Joyce's whole thing with the pail. But at the same time, like, I feel like they can't give me the answers, and some part of them definitely is manipulating me, and then I have Kim, who's like the very rigid person on my shoulder, like trying to just keep me in the safest boundaries, which I appreciate. He's trying to keep me from falling into the, you know, worry about the pail, or getting on drugs with Kuno, or getting distracted with like whatever else. Like, he's trying to keep us on track, but I'm just confused, Kim. I need you to reach out to me and not think so fucking rationally for fucking once. I feel like I'm talking like we're in like a like a committed relationship. Like, can you just not try to problem solve for me for once? Can you just listen to me, Kim? Oh man, that's how I feel. It's like pulling me in all these emotional directions. What I really want from you, Kim, is just to listen to my emotions. As I blast him with this flashlight. Oh god, it's all so comical.
She may be trying to control the pace of the investigation. Anyway, we should move. I suspect our inquiries will bring us back here soon enough.
Okay, let's do it. All right, I think that's a good place to pause for now. This has been a lot. This is one of the most interesting encounters so far in a game of infinitely interesting encounters. I'm so emotionally confused, Kim. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Anyways, that's that's gonna be it for this episode. So yeah, a very interesting character. One of the most interesting characters that I've encountered so far. Next time, I guess we're gonna be kind of getting back into the investigation. I mean, Klaasje just told us not to go tell everyone what we heard from her, so I don't think we can necessarily... Well, we can't confront them on the fact that she made the call. She didn't really say anything about, you know, the whole storyline about what happened between her and the victim, right? So yeah, that's what we'll get into next time. If you enjoyed the video, do like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Support the channel on Patreon. You do get early access to these episodes. I usually have them up a couple days in advance of them coming up on YouTube. And yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.